Well, hello everybody and welcome to the live stream. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to the stream. I was like, this countdown's kind of long. Let's just kick into this live stream and enjoy this Friday together. We got some people in the chat. We're streaming today to YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and also Behance. Let's go. It's gonna be a fun time. And I just got done. Good morning to Angel and good morning to Hamdi and or afternoon, evening. I don't know what time it is there for you, but I just got done doing a really fun live session with my Design Champion group, which is, if you don't know, I run an awesome membership club called the Design Champs. And we just had a live video meetup hangout where we got to chat about finding clients, landing clients, techniques, tactics, and strategies for growing your business or finding jobs, all that kind of stuff. It was really, really fun. So if you're not a part of that, maybe consider heading over to learn.jesseshowalter.com right over here, and you can click on that Design Champions Club. You'll get invited to a private Slack channel where we'll have meetups. They're getting access to early access to videos. I got some really cool videos coming out next week and they get access to that. But if you don't want to be part of that, hey, maybe just consider thumbs up, like, subscribe, ring that bell, smash that like button, do all those YouTube-y things. And let's make the YouTube algorithm realize, man, this might be some valuable content for somebody else out there. Okay, that's all I'll say about that. And we'll be moving on. We got Suthe and Pranshu and Paranita and Joshua, Dave Robson, Sally Wanless. Jesse, great to be here. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I have been battling a little bit of sickness lately, but I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm excited for the weekend. So let me know. Give me a little emoji of some kind. Let me know what you're going to be doing this weekend. If you're sleeping, catching up on sleep, give me a little emoji of a bed. If you are going to be eating some good food with friends, come up with a little cocktail of fun emojis that would represent that. That would be fun because today is all about questions and answers. That's right. We are going to be doing just a whole bunch of Q&A today. And the whole goal is to answer your questions, engage with you. You get a little bit of that in this big audience today, in this big crowd. And then, but again, if you want to have a little bit more kind of like intimate setting with less people, more kind of community and friends, and more hands-on with me, consider becoming one of those design members, all right? One of those design champs. Oh, we got people popping in a bunch of emojis in the chat right now. I see some sunrises, some smiles. Somebody's going on a flight. It looks like maybe Isosha is going on a flight. Some other people are doing some Halloween shopping. I see in the emojis. This is fun. It's like a little emoji game. I like it. Hey, if you have, let's see, any questions, drop those in the chat right now. We're going to start talking about chat, but talking about questions. But one thing I want to just point out is one of the topics that came up in my Design Champs meetup this morning was the idea of time management, and procrastination came up. So I wanted to point out this book that I've been reading lately. It's called Eat That Frog. It's 21 great ways to stop procrastinating. And you can see like all my notes and like all my stuff inside of this book. That's how I like to read books: highlighter, Post-its, notes, drawing, that thing. But one of the things this book talked about was the power of to-do lists. To-do lists are great, but maybe think about going analog, get away from the computer. So this week I tried that. I do everything on my computer, but this week I just created a little to-do list on I've been doing this every day, a to-do list for the day. And then I label them A, B, C, or D. And A being the apex, the thing that must happen if nothing else happens. And then B being a little bit less, but still important, all the way down to D. And D actually stands for delegate. So get rid of those things, let somebody else do those things. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've been trying that this week. It's been great because I haven't been getting sidetracked by seeing something else interesting on my computer. So that's just a fun little thing, okay? Paranita says you pronounce my name correct. Even my teacher doesn't pronounce it correct. That's what we do on YouTube. We try our best at the names, okay? Well, Hamdi has a question. When tackling a design project, do you recommend going from the bottom up? This is interesting. You'd have to let me know what you think from the bottom up. Do you mean like a website, like the bottom of the page up? I'm not really quite sure. Just clarify for me a little bit. That way we can answer that question for you. But in the meantime, Arjo has a question. How should your portfolio presentation decks be during an interview process in comparison to your portfolio? Are the slides verbatim to your portfolio content? Yes and no. Here's what I'll say about being in an interview. Being in an interview, that's a tough one to say. You try saying that. That's a little bit tough. Here's what I would say about that. Is that when you are walking people through your work, you shouldn't be walking people, this is just my opinion, your portfolio can have the entire project, the entire something that you've done, but what you should really do for a slide deck that you do in an interview is pull pieces out of that, like maybe especially as a digital product designer, UI or UX, is you're showing like one portion of that process, right? Even if you're a branding designer, I think you should probably do the same thing. You should do a case study that kind of talks about the research process of the brand. Or in my case, I would say, hey, here's one specific flow where I can really highlight the value. Value is the most important word. The value that I brought to this project, to this brand, to this app or whatever it is. What value did I bring? And it's represented in some short slides. So maybe like 5, 6, 7 slides. And you should say, hey, here is the project or the flow that I worked on. And here's what we were trying to accomplish. And then if you can, here's what it looked like before. Here's the changes we made. And throughout, you should be sprinkling like fairy dust some key performance indicators, some value-based metrics that say things like, we changed this interface to be more like this. We saw a decrease in taps as the user was trying to get to their desired outcome. Wow. That is a value-based metric. Hey, we changed the shopping cart from this to that. We saw a 10% reduction in cart abandonment. Wow. That is absolutely amazing. So it's all about value-based metrics and short examples. So you can talk your way through it. And if you're like, oh, but it's too short, what if the interview's long? Come prepared with a couple of them. Have 3 or 4 of them in your back pocket ready to go, and you can walk people through them. That would be absolutely great. All right. Joy says, hey, Jesse, love your videos and knowledge that you share. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to do that. Hey, really fun fact. I was actually, if you want to talk about knowledge, I was actually on Behance yesterday on doing an Adobe Live with Elise Presents. If you don't know who Elise is, you should get on it because she's awesome. And we talked about content creation. I just wanted to point it out because it was a really fun stream to do with my friend Elise. And I'm just we're not gonna watch it, but you can find it here over at Behance. It was like a little bit of a content creation boot camp. I will, maybe I can put that link in the description. I don't know, maybe I can, maybe I can't. But if you just go to live streams over at Behance, and then, oh, look, there's us right now. We're currently live. But scroll down, you can actually see us right there. Content Creation 101 with me and Elise, when she's super fun, super smart, super talented. So maybe go watch that one if you are considering becoming a content creator. That's some knowledge that was actually paired with her amazing knowledge and wealth of information. I thought it was a really fun stream, so go check that out. All right, let's see. Let's see. Joshua asks, how do you grow as a sole designer in a company? Growth looks the same no matter where you are, who you are, or what you are trying to grow in. You cannot grow until you are under strain and stress. And here's what I mean. I don't mean go be stressed at your job. I mean that if you are lifting weights and trying to grow and get, like stronger, your muscles are actually tearing down and then rebuilding themselves. If you are actually, planting something in a garden, the seed must actually kind of die to sprout, right? There has to be some sort of strain or pressure. Now, as a creative, no matter where you're at, if you're working in a team or working, at a company or working for yourself, the only way that we grow is when we are challenged, when we get critical feedback that challenges our preconceived notions. So ask yourself this question: do I have people in my life who can mark the proverbial red pen through my design work and say, why did you make that choice? Why didn't you make these other choices? How are you thinking about these things? So this is where community comes into play. So you need to, at your workplace, you should be asking people for feedback, but don't ask them for visual feedback. Ask them for value-based feedback, always. The questions could be something like this. Do you think that this iteration of the design accomplishes our overarching goal of ... of satisfying the user, of fixing their pain point, solving their problem? Do you think that this plays into that? Or if you have a specific skill that you're trying to grow in, like maybe you're saying, I really want to grow in color theory and typography. find areas of your work that you can present to other people and ask for critical feedback. If you don't have anybody like that in your life, this is another plug, another opportunity for you to join a community of people over here at the Design Champs. Inside of our private Slack channel, we can share feedback and work and get input from other people. You can share it with me. I'll give you feedback. If you don't have that though, you need to find it somewhere. You have to grow. If you want to grow as a designer, you have to do it through kind of tearing things down and building it back up. That's my answer to that. All right. And I appreciate all of your awesome questions. I don't appreciate people emoji bombing my chat. So bye-bye. Let's see what else. How do you grow? Yep. Jaleel says, hey, Jesse, I'd like to heavily specialize in user interface and have a career in it now. How do I showcase myself as a problem solver through UI design alone? That's great. All design is a vehicle to problem solve and fix problems. That's it. To help people address people's pain points, fix and solve problems, and bring value. Okay. So what you really, and again, this entire stream is going to be about value because that's really what it's all about. But as a creative, you need to always hyper focus on value. So what value to the main overarching goals of the business, the product, or the user's needs did your user interface design actually affect? For instance, as a user interface designer, we know that working with a design system, or at least a pattern library, is a good thing, right? Because it actually increases your efficiency, it decreases inconsistency, and it gets you to market or launch or release quicker. So as a UI designer, that's one of the things you probably do, is assemble components, build out a pattern library, create a design system. So you can say, on this project, I was responsible for building, organizing, and maintaining our miniature design system. And after that miniature design system was established, our time to market, our product release kind of like schedule, it increased in efficiency or productivity. It decreased in a lot of those other limitations. That's one way you can do it. You can also address, we all know that really horrible design, like just in general, not just UX design, which is the structure, it's the skeleton, it's how things work and operate, and how users move from screen to screen via their user journey or flow. All of that's fantastic. But along the route in that user journey or flow, if everything on the screen is using the primary color, then it's like you don't know where to look. If everything is on fire, then nothing's on fire. What do you put out first, right? So by making some simple choices, maybe watching like a video that I've done on the 60-30-10 color rule and saying, man, this interface used to kind of like broadly, it would use color in an irresponsible way that was confusing to the user. The layout, the structure was great, but the way the color was used was just poor. So what we did was we pulled back, neutralized the design, used color really intentionally for call to actions and secondary, tertiary call to actions, and we saw a ... increase of whatever value-based metric. UI design actually does solve problems. It's not just the UX designers out there who are doing it, it's the UI designers that are doing it, making visual choices. So you bring lots of value to the table as a UI designer. Keep bringing that value to the table and keep doing you, because it's awesome, okay? Now, let's keep answering some questions. Let's see. What's your advice, Nick Asbell says, what's your advice for learning front-end web development as a designer? Is it still worth it? My company uses WordPress, but with tools like Webflow, would it be better to convince them to switch? Would it be better to convince somebody to switch from a web builder that they absolutely love or are already attached to as a company to custom front-end development? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no to that switch, not no to you learning front-end web development. Absolutely. These are two separate questions. Let me answer them one at a time for you. Number one, let's talk about the switch question. If a company is already using some sort of established web builder, right? Like maybe you're using like WordPress with Elementor on it, and that works for the company. Maybe you're using Webflow or Editor X, and they really love it. There's no reason to switch away from a successful web builder or a tool of some kind purely for pride to say that you did it by your own two hands. It's just a bad idea, right? Because if something already works, you might already have some established kind of like procedures and systems, and there's reasons why it works. So don't necessarily just kick things like that to the curb. But secondly, is it important for you to learn front-end development? Is it still worth it in 2022? I would say absolutely it's still worth it. Here's why. Not necessarily as a designer should you learn front-end dev to be a front-end developer, but you can learn the basics of front-end dev to understand the medium. Here's what I mean by that. If you are a print designer, your medium is print. That means paper, cardstocks, printers, vendors, products like physical products to print on. This is your medium. It's what your design work actually goes on. Now, as a digital designer, as a web designer, a mobile application designer, whatever it is, your medium is, guess what? The screen, right? This laptop that's in front of me, this mobile device that I'm holding in my hand, that's your medium. So for you to not respect the medium, but instead irresponsibly design everything with crazy animations and off canvas, blah, 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 all this stuff, and then hand it to a developer and go, here, I made this crazy thing with animations. Can you code this up for me? And they'll go, I hate you. They're not gonna be your friend. Do you understand? So one thing is just knowing how to responsibly design for the medium so that you know what's worthwhile. Hey, what is it worth it to our team to actually design this with all these excess like animations and stuff? Is it worth it for them to implement that? Having some sort of knowledge of that actually makes you a great addition to a team that works in code, that has some sort of development or engineering team. So I would say all of that to say that you should do it so that you love people well and you respect them and their time, okay? Jason Thompson asked a question. He's a hiring manager. Jesse is right, he says. Oh, I'm not reading this just to confirm myself. I just saw this and started reading it. The thing that comes in handy when working in corporate is the ability to troubleshoot outside of the framework. So learn front-end dev, maintain your value. Absolutely. And one more thing I'll say about learning front-end development, you can actually learn quite a bit about front-end development by using something like Webflow. Because it's not a drag and drop editor, but instead it's dropping in a div, giving it a class, giving it an ID, using the box model for margin and padding. You're learning some basic tenets of front-end development. Now, what would be great is to build some sort of basic thing inside of Webflow, learning some of those skills and principles, and then open up a text editor, open up like VS Code and maybe try to code it yourself for funsies. That's not a bad idea. If you're looking for a great channel that would teach you a little bit more about front-end development, because I actually don't talk about code as much anymore because I've kind of moved away from coding, right? That's not as much my bag anymore. I would encourage you to go check out Kevin Powell's channel. Kevin Powell has like almost 500,000 subscribers. He's got to be pretty good. But Kevin Powell actually talks all about like CSS, front-end development, HTML, like he talks about all of it. And so I actually want to do like a collaboration with Kevin Powell because I just love him so much. He's got such a cool vibe, a cool attitude. And you know what would make me really have a cool vibe and cool attitude is if you subscribe and put a little thumbs up and rang that bell. That'd make me happy too. So consider doing that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on front-end development. Okay, I'm gonna take a little drink of my Liquid Death Mountain water. Okay, Lily Love says, working on an assignment on checkout optimization. What's your best advice on how to generate and validate ideas for this? I'm sure there'll be something I've missed. Here is my thoughts on validating your thoughts and your ideas for something like a checkout optimization kind of project you're working on. Number one, don't reinvent the wheel. Okay. There are some tried and true, like time tested, like patterns and like steps inside of a checkout flow. So don't reinvent the wheel. I'm actually dealing with a company right now that has reinvented the wheel. It's a tool that I use on a daily basis where I sell some digital products, and they've tried to reinvent the wheel every time somebody checks out. What do you expect when you check out? You probably expect to say, I want to buy this thing, boom, lead me to checkout, put in my name, email, and all of my there, and then maybe next step is like my shipping info, and then the next step is like all my credit card info, and I can see that feels like, isn't that just feel pretty standard? But this tool that I'm using has decided, nope, before you do any of that, enter in a password and create an account. Well, what if people don't want to create an account? What if they want to check out as a guest, which is a standard thing? Sorry to yell, I'm just a little upset about the whole thing, but it just doesn't make any sense. They've reinvented the stinking wheel and it's stupid. So here's the first thing I would say is don't reinvent the wheel where it's not needed. Number two, it's the only way you can optimize something is to test something, right? And so you have to test, you have to make small tweaks and A/B test something. If you don't know what A/B testing is, it's going to it means having an A version and a B version, right? Maybe in your A version, your name and email and everything are combined with the shipping information. And then you have a step 2, which is your checkout information, okay? Okay, lastly, or in your B version, maybe it's all in one page, it's all one step. A, B, test these. Have people test both of them and figure out what the completion or success rate is of both of them. So I would say don't reinvent the wheel, make small micro adjustments and test it. That's how you optimize it. And once you test and find a winner, A or B, take that one, retweak that one again, find a better version, A or B, test that. And so it's just a continuation of testing until you find what actually works. That's what you got to do. That's how I would go about optimizing something like a checkout. But please, for the love of God, don't do something stupid like reinvent the checkout process. It's so frustrating. And they just changed it in the last few months. Why? Let people check out as a guest. Okay. Let's see. Marketing Empire asks, this is my first live. Could you recommend a pathway to learn how to understand design? I know how it looks, but I'm not real sure how to recreate it. That's a great question. I would recommend 2 books for learning how to understand design. Number 1, it's a great book called The Non-Designer's Design Book. I have it back here on my bookshelf somewhere right down there. It's written by Robin Williams, not the Robin Williams, the actor who's passed away, but a different person named Robin Williams. And she wrote a fantastic book about understanding the basics of design. Exactly what you're saying. Why does it look good? I'm not sure why it looks good. I need to learn why it actually works or doesn't work. That's a great book, The Non-Designer's Design Book. Number 2, I would recommend that you read Steal Like an Artist by Austin Cleon. Austin Cleon wrote a very small, really accessible little book, not about stealing, but about how we find inspiration and how to actually find the inspiration of that person you're inspired by, right? So dig deeper, look at what they're looking at. Why do they see something as interesting and inspiring that made that thing, and now you're looking at that thing going, I love that. Well, that thing came from other inspiration. So that's a huge part of that book is how to steal like an artist. I think those 2 books would be a great help for you. Steal Like an Artist and The Non-Designer's Design Book, okay? Let's see. Yep, I'm reading some of these. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, okay. Hey, MD Zian says, hi there. How can we deal with the pressure during an interview and nail it? Okay, that's a great question. I think first, the most confident people are the most practiced people. Okay, so if you're going to go into an interview, you need to be practiced for that interview. You need to warm up, right? You can't go out there all stiff and cold and not ready to talk about your work or talk about the company. And here's some ways you can warm up or practice to be well-versed and confident in that interview is number 1, research the heck out of the company. Know what the company is, know what the product is, have played with it a lot, have opinions and thoughts on how you might be excited to come on board and fix it. Understand what they're looking for, understand what their users' pain points are. Do a little bit of market research, a little bit of a competitive set. You walk in there, you're well versed in the company and what they need. Number 2, create your case studies, create your slide deck, create your presentation, walk through it, practice talking through it. And you don't want to talk about, I like this, it looked real pretty, so I made that choice and I did. No, you want to talk about what pain point it's solving and what part was complex and how this satisfied the user's needs and how this brought more value to the business or the company or the brand. You want to be ready to talk about those challenges and how you overcame them with the vehicle or the tool of design, because people don't hire designers to make things pretty. People hire designers to make them money. Okay? Very, very important. If y'all think you're getting hired to make things pretty, you're wrong. They're hiring you to bring value to the company, whatever that looks like, okay? Let's see. Angel says, Robin Williams books were used in my college design class. See? I know what I'm talking about every once in a while. Not all the time, but every once in a while I'll get one. I get a lucky one. All right. Let's see. So that's good. That's how you can deal with pressure during an interview. Any tools to test Figma prototypes, and where will I find volunteers? Yeah, absolutely. There's tools to test Figma prototypes. Number one, Figma prototype. Just email that sucker out. That's one way. Call email. You do that. Not to be condescending, but here's actually another one. You can use something like usertesting.com, and you can upload the clickable prototype right there to usertesting.com. They go to it, they actually film themselves walking through the prototype, and you can test things with actual users. So that's a great one. Who to call on? Again, you can go to something like usertesting.com, or if you're doing something real kind of like guerrilla tactic, like low impact, get your mom, your friends, your brother, your cousins, send it to them. All it takes is one mission statement or objective that says, hey sis, hey brother, hey cousin or friend of mine, imagine you're trying to book a vacation, okay? I'm gonna send you a link, open it up and act like this is an app and you're trying to book a vacation. And could you film yourself while you do it? And then answer these series of questions after. Boom, you're doing user testing right there, and you don't have to do eye tracking studies or anything crazy, okay? So that's a way that you can do it. And that's a place you can test it for sure. Yep. Let's see. Any other questions? Do you already know? Will Figma cost? Figma still does have a free tier, I believe. I have no idea. Adobe bought Figma for $20 billion. I don't know what's going to go on. I can't read the future. Who knows? Maybe they'll delete Figma altogether. I don't know. We'll make it happen. We'll get along. We'll do okay. We'll use XD. We'll go back to Sketch. We'll use some other tools like Framer or something. I don't know. I'm going to cough right now. Excuse me. Okay, let's keep cruising. Jaleel says, what are the trending web design tools I should learn in extant times, in current times? Maybe that's what you meant, by which I can add web design as a second skill. Okay, great. Let me reframe the question. What tools for web design should I learn right now? I think probably your cream of the crop that have risen to the top tools for web design is going to be something like Adobe XD or Figma. Both are owned by Adobe, as we just said, but they're great tools. They have lots of features and functionality. They are tuned and created specifically for people who are doing web design, digital design, mobile application design, software design. Because of their emphasis on components, component libraries, reusable, repeatable styles like color, typography, so on and so forth, as well as collaboration, sharing, and testing. These platforms are the most important probably right now. If you want to learn web design, you don't want to do that in Illustrator anymore. You don't want to do that in Photoshop. Ugh, I used to do that. Now you want to use these tools. They're probably the best ones. I would strongly recommend, in my opinion, stay away from Sketch. It's not worth the hassle. The juice is not worth the squeeze anymore in 2022. It is no longer a modern design tool. It's starting to become an archaic one. Sweet burn, hot take, just me. Here we go. Let's see. How do you keep your motivation when you have lost interest? That's a great question. And it might be your motivation that you had, or your interest for design, or your interest for creating content, or your interest for working out, or your interest. And motivation, a lot of people think, is the thing that has caused me to continue making YouTube videos for the past 6.5 years. I've had nonstop motivation, but the truth is I have not. I have had huge dry seasons where there's been no motivation. And here's what I would say to you. If you are banking on motivation to lead you through tough seasons of lack of interest or dips in interest, then you are in for a rude awakening, because motivation is a bad plan. Okay, motivation is a bad plan or strategy to completing your goals. Systems, processes, and habits are the thing that will help you sustain through seasons of lack of interest or lack of passion. There are days when I wake up and I don't want to do live streams, or I don't want to make YouTube videos, and I don't want to do stuff like this online. But my habits, my systems, my routine, and then also my accountability, my community who encourage me and keep me accountable to keep going, these are what really matters. So if you want to, start a business. Starting a business, being an entrepreneur, is a lonely endeavor. And there are good days and there are bad days, and there's a lot of bad days. And if your motivation is the thing trying to sustain you or support you throughout, that business is closing down real quick. So you need to create systems and habits that will sustain you. Alan in Cabo says Atomic Habits, absolutely great book. You read it, listen to it, live it, love it. It says it all right there. That's a huge one. But yeah, you have to have systems and habits, okay? MDZN says, my UI designs suck. How can I improve it? Not sucks, but you feel like they're just average. So I need a couple of advice, a little bit of advice from you. Well, let me tell you about when you feel like something stinks. The best thing to do is, that's my printer in the background printing. That's fantastic. Okay, let's talk again about what happens if your UI designs suck while my printer is running in the background for some reason. You're gonna wanna tear it apart. You're going to want to try to do it again. But before you tear it apart and do it again, you need to assess what's wrong with it and compare it to other designs. Maybe the color is off. Maybe the drop shadows are too harsh. Maybe the typography doesn't have any sort of scale or rhythm or anything. You need to assess the minute points in it that can use improvement and then address those points in your new iteration or version. That is what you need to do. Okay, so be specific. Give yourself your own feedback or get feedback from other people. If it's hard for you to find feedback, then consider joining something like the Design Champions, where you can get feedback, you can get insights, you can share your work, and people can help you to grow and become a better designer. Hey, if you want to not only grow to be a better designer, sorry for this next plug, but I'm really excited about it. I ran a workshop a couple months ago about becoming a freelance UI and UX designer, and I'm running it again in November on the 26th. And this workshop is going to be all about these things: finding and landing clients, proposals and contracts, how much to charge. Spoiler alert, it's a whole lot. You should be charging a lot of money as a freelance UI designer. I'm going to teach you my 6-step process that's bulletproof, that works every single time. It's a system and a process. It doesn't require you to reinvent the wheel or have motivation. I'm going to show you how to establish and create deliverables that blow clients' minds. I'm going to teach you how to make 6 figures as a freelance UI and UX designer, and a whole bunch more other things. And all you have to do is head over to learn.jesseshowalter.com, and it'll take you to a website that looks a little something like this, where you can also find the Design Champs website. But when you go to the homepage, if it would ever load, we'll see. You'll find it there eventually. I promise. We'll come back to it. But if you want to learn how to be a freelancer and maybe leave your 9 to 5, we're going to talk about how to do that. It's a 3-hour workshop, and that 3-hour workshop is hands-on with me, walking through question and answer time challenges, takeaways. You get a slew of take-home prizes and things to use, like Notion systems and productivity processes and scripts and all sorts of things to take with you. So you'll have that as well when you go home. But consider, joining the consider joining the workshop. That would be a lot of fun. Ifram asks, are we getting a financial report this year as well? Yes, I will be giving you a financial end of the year report. I'll be very honest with the numbers. It's going to be a lot of fun because last year was the first time I did it. And I feel like I've learned a lot on how to process my finances and actually kind of like make them presentable or in a way that's understandable for me and for everybody. I'm growing as a business person, as an entrepreneur, and I'll be offering that to you as well so that you can grow. So that could be kind of cool. Jalil says, random question, Jesse, would you say the working customer service rep in a UX friendly firm can prepare someone for a UX research role? They deal with report feedback compilation retroactively, maybe. I don't know. It's possible. I've never been in that role. I don't know much about it. I wish I could help you with that. I just don't know. Sometimes I don't know the answers to questions. That happens. Okay, let's see. Cryo Weasel. I love that name, by the way, Cryo Weasel. The question is, with Dribbble, should I be posting everything I make? Or is that meant to just be like the best of the best? I'm not using it as a portfolio. It could be either or. Okay, so you can use Dribbble as like a scrapbook or like a documentation of your journey. You can post multiple versions of the same thing as it improves. Totally, you could do that. Or you could use it as a portfolio with high resolution, high fidelity, presentable work with case studies, with animations, with all sorts of stuff in it. It's up to you. The only thing that matters is once you've defined what you use it for, how you actually promote it or market yourself based off of that tool. Dribbble is a tool. How do you use that tool? If it is promotional, like presentable, like high fidelity, picture perfect portfolio work, well then you could probably use that to apply for jobs. Okay. If it is the other one, if it's more of like a messy scrapbook documentation journey kind of experience, then you don't care about using it as like to promote yourself or land clients or jobs. You're just being part of the community. You're looking for feedback. Either one is fine. Just know how to use the tool. You choose how you use it. Okay. That's a great question. That's funny. Lily Love says, who is the blue-haired lady picture by? I've seen it in your videos and I love it. My wife actually painted that. Let's feature my wife's artwork here for a second. Shall we? All right. I'm going to pull it off the wall. It's been a while since I pulled it off the wall. This is a painting that my wife actually did, a series of paintings. And she made a bunch of them specifically for me. This is one of them. And the detail in it is like absolutely beautiful. Like, look at the eyes on this thing. It's so nice. Like, she did a great job. And my wife is a professional artist, a tattoo artist, and a photographer. And she just has all the talent. She's actually the one that encouraged me to start my creative journey. So I'm going to put this painting back over here and I'll rehang it at the end of the stream. That's fun. Thanks for that question. I like to, I have a couple pieces on the wall that are by my wife, which is really, really fun. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I think it's really hard. 70N says, hello. You think is it really hard to become good at UI and UX design by YouTube design tutorials only? Let me rephrase the question. Is it hard to learn how to do UI and UX design if all you had was YouTube? Yeah, it's a little hard. Well, and maybe that's the wrong answer. Maybe it's not hard. It's just different, right? One of the things that I love about courses, one of the things that I love about structured kind of like courses is that it gives you kind of a start to finish. And you don't have to go out and search, okay, what should I learn next? And all of the figuring out about what comes next, that's not necessarily like if you go to school, like you don't have to do that. You choose your major and somebody else has provided the track or the rails that the train runs on for you to learn. When you're in YouTube land, you kind of have to do all of that work yourself. And that can be really, really hard if you're the type of person, if you don't know what should come next. How can you need to learn something, but know exactly what you need to learn next? That's really hard. That's why a lot of times I recommend, buying like a course of some kind. Like I have my Dribbble 16-week like course out there that you could like use. I also, though, I'm going to help you out here really quickly. I have a playlist for you. Okay. Let's see. Let's go look at it right now, shall we? I have a playlist that I created in YouTube for this specific purpose. And this is the Digital Product Design Get Started playlist. Okay. I'd have to find this and post it, but you should just be able to go to my channel. Go to my channel here. Let's find, go to Jesse Showalter's channel like this, and then go to playlists. And then you should be able to find this Digital Product Design Get Started playlist right there. That's what you need. And it's going to start you from the very top, like what is UI and UX design? And it takes you through like learning tools like Figma and Adobe XD, and then some design advice, color theory, to other tools like a Mac or a PC. And then we just start kind of designing a bunch of stuff. We learn about grids and design patterns and different principles, UX stuff, typography, user flow diagrams. So I actually think that you could just pull this little course right here and start rocking like with that little playlist. Treat it like a course. See what happens. I don't know. I made it for you. I made it for those of you who are like, I don't want to pay for something. Just do that for free. Okay, that'll be fun. Let's see. Yeah, 70 says, yeah, good answer. Can you suggest a free course? That's the one right there. Take that one right there. Okay. Let's see. Do you agree that everyone can be a UX and UI designer? Yes, I actually do agree with that statement. You know why? Because it's not art. Okay. And maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I'm biased. Not everybody can do like these beautiful pieces of artwork like my wife makes and other artists make. Sometimes there's artistic talent maybe that you're gifted with and born with. But I think everybody is naturally a problem solver. You solve problems in your life every single day. To have coffee or not to coffee. right? If I'm going to have coffee, where do I go? I have to drive there. I'm going to bring up my map. I'm going to navigate myself there. You solve problems on a daily basis, right? You just don't realize that you are actively solving problems. UI and UX design is about solving problems, and then you learn a set of learnable skills. It's actually learnable skills of color, typography. There's rules based with them. This is why I'm a big board game nerd. I love board games. I love rules. I like to read board game rule books. I'm not a tabletop Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game kind of guy because it's kind of free for all, open creativity, tell a story. It's not generally my vibe. That's like the art of the gaming world, and the board games is more of the design of the gaming world, right? Where I can say the rule is I roll the dice and move that many spaces. That is what I think everybody can learn, is you read the rules and you play the game. UX and UI is the game that you play. You just have to read the rules, learn them, understand, okay? Let's see. Yeah, I answered that question. And I tell you what, folks, I got time for maybe one or two more questions before we have to jump out for the day, because I got to get some other things done, and I've really enjoyed hanging out with you guys today. Again, if you haven't yet, make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, ring that bell so you know when live streams like this happen. You just get email notified, jump right on, and you don't have to miss any of this awesomeness, okay? But Jaleel has another great question. As you're hitting all that like, subscribe stuff, let me answer this question. I would say, Jaleel asked this question: what is it meant by associate designer? Are they between junior and senior? Roles may differ across firms, but can you summarize the responsibilities? Yeah, that is a made up word or term. That's what I think. I think a lot of people make up terms. They're like, you're an associate designer. Usually like if you have like a creative director or an art director, that's an AD, an art director. And then you have an AAD, which is like an associate art director, okay? Or like some would call it an assistant art director, but it's really associate art director. And that person is kind of like the art director is the captain of that world, and the associate is their first mate. They're doing the job. They're there. If the art director is sick for the day, they can play the role, but really they're there to support the needs of the art director. An associate designer, I would assume just means junior designer or an assistant designer or a second designer. What you really want is clarification of responsibilities, not titles. Titles are stupid. Titles don't matter. I don't care if you're the principal, the founder, the CEO. I don't care if you're the creative director, art director, product designer, UI designer. What's the difference? I don't care. What's your role? What are you doing? Not your title, right? Oh, we need somebody who can do ... Fine. That's what the role entails. Can you do the role? So ask about the responsibilities, the role, and the pay. And if the pay does not seem commensurate with the role and responsibilities, then the heck with the title. The title doesn't matter. If they want to pay you $30,000 to design email templates and they're going to call you a creative director, are you really a creative director? Not really, right? So titles don't matter. Roles and responsibilities and duties actually matter, and pay matters, okay? Angel asks, when is the swag being released? I do have some swag I'm releasing. Getting around to it, man. There's a lot of things going on right now. Courses and live streams and workshops and swag, and there's all sorts of things happening. So stay tuned. Hey, if you're not already a member of my newsletter, or if you're not a subscriber to my newsletter, that's actually the best way. I send out kind of like monthly, sometimes twice a month, tips, tricks, hints on becoming like a freelancer or landing jobs, finding clients. So little tidbits of wisdom. You should go to jesseshowalter.com and hit that newsletter tab that's vertical on the left-hand side, or just /newsletter. You can sign up for it right here. I don't bomb you. I don't spam you. I just share cool bits of info and tidbits of fun stuff. So, but that's also where I kind of like release when things are happening, what things are happening, new things that are happening that I think you might be interested in. So sign up for the newsletter. You can find the link in the top section of my channel. Actually, if you go back to my main channel, you'll find it there as well. Yeah, I'm getting some people are saying I'm getting a design or an error right now trying to sign up for my design champs community. It was erroring. It's back up now, so which is a little bit frustrating. So let me just preview that again for you really quick. Go to learn.jesseshowalter.com, and this is where you can sign up for the become a freelance UI UX designer. It was only 100 spots. We've already sold 10. It's only been out for like a day or two, but you can click here and learn more, all the details of it, what's happening, what you get, what you're going to learn, a bunch of FAQs. You can find that there. And then you can just click on the Design Champs if you want. Sign up for Design Champs there. Hey, fun fact, if you're a Design Champ, you actually get 50% off. Just saying, pretty good deal. So maybe think about becoming a Design Champ first, and then get that 20 or get that 50% off afterwards. That could be pretty fun. All right. Those are fantastic questions for the day. Thank you everybody so much for all your awesomeness, for joining me on this live stream. I hope you have a absolutely fantastic Friday and a great weekend. Get yourself rested, prepare for the following week. You have great questions. Keep asking those questions, keep learning, keep thriving. Make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. And I hope you guys are having an amazing week, designing amazing things, making amazing things. And we will see you in the next one. Take care.